Hello, everyone. My name is Payman Parham Al-Awadi, and this is my brother Mohammed. We are from the United Arab Emirates, and we produce and host a social media-driven travel show called Pita Planet. We're very privileged because we get to travel around the world and we meet some of the most inspiring young thought leaders of our generation. We actually use travel as a tool, a medium to create communities, and we connect people who have amazing ideas with others who can possibly help them bring those ideas to life. We call this social travel. Today, our show is one of the most watched shows in the Middle East region, and we broadcast into 50 million homes. We're two kids from Dubai, and I'm not sure how we got here, but it's thank you. It's really an honor to be part of the Clinton Global Initiative this year, and an honor really to meet all of you.
So I wrote a little something before coming here, and then I scrapped it on the plane because I think I came up with something a little bit better. So bear with me if it's bad. I'm impulsive like that. Throughout our history, there have been many incredible developments that have impacted our lives. The internet and social media are two of them. As social networking grows and knowledge becomes accessible to anyone with an internet connection, more and more people want to participate in determining their future, our future. I don't mean this just in the context of government elections. Social media users want to participate in everything from your product development to your supply chains. One particularly important area they want to influence is human development. To explain this as a new phenomena attributed to the growth in social networking would not paint a complete picture. You see, even in ancient times, tribes, clans, and communities came together to discuss the factors that influenced their lives, and then together they impacted change. To overcome adversity, collaboration had to be embraced. Today, new tribes are emerging. It's the social tribes who are impacting change, not just offline, but online. One where passports, skin color, race, ethnicity, and religion are no longer the factors that distinguish them. Today's social tribes are bound by a common belief, or common beliefs. We believe that this is impacting urban cities in a beautiful way and turning them into labs of innovation. The lines between government and civil responsibilities are becoming blurred. The question is, how should we address it? Do we redraw these lines, or do we embrace this movement of government, private, and civic collaboration? Our amazing guests today are the products of these blurring lines. So today, we hope to inspire a new approach in supporting their commitments. One that doesn't categorize engagement based on traditional roles and responsibility, but on the notion that anyone can play a role in bettering people's lives across the world. Today in this room, we are one tribe. Who or what we are is secondary to that. Let's forget for a moment where we are told our responsibilities lie, and instead blur the lines that separate us. We want you to think of how you can help our guests achieve their call to action. They're amazing people with an amazing story to share with you. If there's one truth we've learned from filming our show, Pita Planet, around the world, it's that great things are achieved when empowered people collaborate to bring back dignity to other people's lives. On that note, we'd like to welcome our first guest.
I'd like to ask Mrs. Gesare Chife to join us on stage.
All the way from Nigeria.
Hello. So I'm going to take a moment, and this is probably not enough about what you do, but just in brief, Gesari Chife is the co-founder and executive director of the Dr. Aloy and Gesari Chife Foundation. For the past 7 years, Chife has worked on the development and implementation of strategic plans for the Anam community in East Nigeria. Projects spearheaded include scholarship and fellowship programs for university students from the region, sustainable economic development projects such as a brick factory, an ecologic fish farm, affordable housing projects, a school, and the development of a healthcare delivery system for the Anam communities.
So Gesare, pretend nobody's here.
Easy.
So Africa is currently experiencing the world's fastest rate of urbanization. By 2030, over 50% of Africa will live in cities, and cities will increase their size by 85%. The Dr. Aloy and Gesari Chife Foundation made a 2012 commitment to action, called Anam City, a master planned city in East Nigeria that will serve as a future agricultural production hub. So, Gesare, how is Anam City leveraging Africa's rapid urbanization as a tool to provide greater economic and social opportunities to its residents?
Well, first of all, I'd like to thank the CGI for the opportunity to share work with everybody. I think the Anam New City project really grew out of a problem, as most things do. We have a problem of a very large young population. I think 50% of kids in our villages are under 20 years old. You know, in overcrowded conditions, no schools, very poor healthcare system, if any. And what we observed was there was a pattern of migration from the villages into the cities, looking for opportunities. Well, we have 21 million people in Lagos. I don't think there's room for one more. So we started to rethink the whole urbanization process and think, why not bring the city to the village?
Right.
Why not create a different type of urbanization, which we could really use? You know, this could be a test bed for a different kind of development in Africa. So we decided to create an agropolitan city, which is basically a city that preserves the culture, the way of life, keeps agriculture as the main economic activity, but keeps people where they are. So you have these communities that invested a lot of time and effort in these young people, and now they don't have to leave. They can stay and serve, you know, their own communities. So that's really how it all began.
I was reading some statistics, and it says that 3% of the population in Anambra State live in Anam City, but that 70% of the food is produced out of Anam City. And also, 60% of the population is involved in agriculture in that city.
Yes.
You guys are doing something very unique over there. What you're trying to do is you're creating a collective of smallholder farmers, and you guys are collectively looking at ways to develop that industry. So whether it's taking advantage of economies of scale or distribution or pricing, I mean, this is really like reinventing how you do farming as a city, as a collective, and not just individually, because you're much stronger that way. What are some of the lessons that you've learned, and where has this come from? Have you learned lessons from other cities that have done this before?
I think in looking at how to improve productivity with the farmers, the model that we really looked at was the cooperative unions. And this is very strong in East Africa, particularly in Kenya. And it brings together all different farmers of maybe one kind, maybe one crop, or in one area, and supports them. And what it does is you can, you know, collectively bargain for your goods in the market. You can provide them with all sorts of support systems and networks. You can bring in experts to advise them and just boost technology using boost their productivity using technology. Right now, you can imagine with only traditional methods of farming, this 3% of the state is providing 70% of the state's food. I mean, that's really staggering in my mind. Just imagine what they could do if they were just supported a little more. And those are the types of partnerships we're seeking, is to learn new ways to farm, to get them together, to be able to maybe process their products a little bit to increase their, you know, value. So that's where we got the idea.
So, not a lot of people know this, but after you made your commitment to action, Anam City was struck by severe floods.
Yes.
So that kind of set back the developments by several months. But there's a happy ending, because just recently, this month, You're finally opening Anam City's first clinic and school, and you've added a bunch of housing units as well, green housing units. So how will providing these essential services change the community and provide greater opportunities for all its residents?
I think with every hardship is an opportunity. When the flood happened, it was really devastating. 5 months underwater, the entire community, 50,000 people were displaced. Very little help came in from outside. But we were able to pull everybody together. The community is very resilient. And I think the obvious opportunities were like jobs, building the new city, construction jobs, jobs in the school. But there's the other effect of now this community for the first time has a really good healthcare system right where they live. They don't have to travel, for miles just to go for a prenatal checkup. They are going to have a very high quality education system. And one of our key goals is to expose the little kids to technology from a very young age, to put computers in the hands of 4- or 5-year-olds so that they can really get comfortable with it. Right now, there's such a divide between what happens here and what's happening in rural Africa. So those are the opportunities we think will come to the Anam people.
But can we put it into perspective as well? Not having these clinics, what is the impact of that? What has been happening?
Oh, there's been a lot of very high infant mortality rates, just from lack of prenatal care, lack of catching problems before they become too severe. Kids are graduating from universities, can barely write an essay. The standards are so low. Just a lot of social and economic problems.
Yeah. On that note, we were talking earlier on, and you said that you choose a group of students and you actually pay for their way through university, so a scholarship. But then what you found was when they reached a university level, their reading and writing level, is just not at the right level.
We had graduate students that were writing, they had to be heavily edited when they were writing for our blogs. So we thought, why are we paying to send them into schools? And then this is what's happening. So we decided, why not just start the schools and improve the quality right from the beginning. So it's almost like reversing the problem and starting from the beginning.
From the foundation.
Yeah.
Gesare, I'd love to take this opportunity now to go to our Skype feed. We're going to Skype in back to Nigeria, East Nigeria, Anam City. We've got Emmanuel on the line with us. Emmanuel, can you hear us?
Sure.
Awesome. Emmanuel, I'm going to just give a very short introduction, and then I'd love for you to tell us a little bit more about what you do. Mrs. Gesari tells us you do quite a bit on the ground as the project coordinator. So, and you've done amazing work with the flood and just rebuilding the city after the flood.
Yeah.
So we'd love to hear a little bit about what you do on the ground. So you're the mover, you're the shaker.
Well, like she said, like my activities we are into rebuilding the city after the flood. We do a lot of construction work, making sure that all the people are taken care of through the business provision of healthcare, education, just like my executive director said, So that's what we are doing here.
You guys are doing an amazing job. I mean, we were talking behind the stage about what really went into coming out of this major disaster. So
yeah, we said it's a flood, but it wasn't just a flood that lasted 1 or 2 days.
We were underwater for 5 months. We're talking about a lot of villages underwater for 5 months, and those who didn't have anywhere to go were, stuck.
Gesari, you can jump in wherever you like, but Emmanuel, a question for you. How important is the Anam City development to the people and to the community over there? How does it impact them? How do they feel about it?
Great. The Anam people, they feel better about the activities of the foundation because we've gone a long way to helping them in a way. During the flood, we did a whole lot to help them and to show the resilience of the Anam people, with within short period of time, everybody was evacuated from the disaster zone and ferried to safety in which you can, through the effort of foundation, through provision of boats and canoes. We were the means of transportation at that period. So that was what the foundation did, for the community, and they are very grateful for that.
Fantastic. Emmanuel?
Sorry, you want to add anything to that?
No, I just think that the Anam people are very resilient people, but they really do need help. We need partnerships with sustainable building technologies, with farming, any farming techniques, or any organizations that can come and help us to farm better, particularly fish farming and with crops. So we would really like to form partnerships.
Yeah. I mean, we talked about it. I'll be honest, we had a conversation backstage, and we told Gesari, I mean, this is your opportunity. You have 1,000 people stuck in this room, and all the doors are locked. This is your moment. Ask. What do you need? What do you need from the people in this room?
Solar equipment, partnerships for any kind of new sustainable building technologies that are out there, help with farming, especially, like I mentioned, fish farming consultation. If you have an idea, we don't want to reinvent the wheel. If it works for you, bring it to us, and we'll do it.
I mean, you're part of the CGI, and yes, there's been a lot of investment in Anam City and on the scholarships and whatnot. So where's that money coming from right now?
Currently, just from our own businesses. Any profit we make, we push it into the foundation. But if business is down, the funds are drying up. And in order to scale up, we just have to have partnerships. We can't do it on our own.
Sorry, why do you do what you do? Why are you doing this?
Because somebody has to. I mean, if you see these kids with malnutrition, you see these kids who are carrying their little plastic chairs to school because they don't have furniture in their school. How can you not do anything, I think you have to. You have to.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
You did a great job.